Contrast idolaters in this passage who, by making and worshiping idol gods, make themselves nothing. Foolin. I want to introduce an idea to you in verse 9, and it's the idea of chaos. All who fashion idols are, in the Hebrew, the word is tohu, which means elemental chaos. All who fashion idols are tohu. They are chaos. It's often used, this word tohu, in conjunction with creation, what God did in creation. It's often used by Isaiah to describe idols and idolatry that he sees going on around him. This idea of elemental chaos. So let's look at two passages that describe this tohu, this chaos, so you can kind of unpack this loaded phrase. In chapter 40, Isaiah 41:29, we looked at this now several weeks ago, but let me read this back to you. Idols are a delusion. Their works are nothing. Their images are empty wind. Let me now insert for you what the Hebrew word is. Idols are a tohu. Their works are tohu. Their images, tohu wind. Elemental chaos. Genesis 1:2, you know it by heart, right? The earth was without form and tohu, void. The earth was without form and chaos. But the Spirit of God hovered above the waters. The process of creation, God's creation, is moving the world from chaos to order, from chaos to creation. One of the scholars that I'm leaning heavily on here makes a strong case for this, and his name is John Oswalt, and he said tohu is used for its strong association with creation. Instead of bringing order out of chaos, idol god makers take God's order and turn it into chaos, and in the process they become tohu themselves. The process of idol worship is taking the creation and turning the creation into chaos, and in so doing, you, the idolater, gets caught up in the chaos itself and becomes part of the chaos. Some of us who have heard John MacArthur talk about what's coming at the end, he has coined the phrase decreation. God will in the end decreate. He will destroy this all in favor of a new heavens and a new earth. This is what idolaters are doing to themselves. They're decreating, they're tohuing themselves, they're creating chaos. The prophet in worship is in becoming like the one worshipped. The prophet in worship is in becoming like the one worshipped. One of my favorite quotes from the introduction to any book was a quote from Henry Scougal, which found its way into the introduction of one of John Piper's books. And Henry Scougal, a long time ago, said the following: the worth and excellency of a soul is measured by the object of its love. The worth and excellency of a soul is measured by the object of its worship. The value of worship, the profit in worship, is that you become like the one worshipped. And if you worship idols, the value of your soul, according to God, is nothing. It's profitless. You become chaos. Do you love and delight in your Creator? How is that delight profitable to your soul? It should be asked more like this: oh, how is that delight in the Lord profitable to your soul? Psalm 37:4, you know it. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. It's cyclical, isn't it? If you delight yourself in the Lord, in the holy, high and lifted up, glorious Lord who created you, then the desire of your heart will be for Him, and He'll give it to you. Not, in the back of my mind, what I really like is a big bag of money and a Cadillac and all of the things, right, that you put on your list of Santa Claus, but I'll delight myself in the Lord as a means to an end to get what I really want. No. If you delight yourself in Him, in becoming like his Son, he'll give you what you want. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Not with whatever they want, with righteousness. In what do we delight? A God of chaos or the God of creation? What do you delight in? The Corinthian church delighted in chaos. Man, 1 Corinthians is a letter to what I call Paul's wild child. Corinth was crazy. There was some wild stuff going on there. And I like the book of 1 Corinthians. I think most of the Western church has given themselves to Corinthians, and they think that they want to become just like them. But notice in 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 3, just how parallel this is to what God is saying to Israel some 500 years earlier. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 to 3, if I speak with the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. I am nothing, and I gain nothing. I'm vain. I'm tohu. I've given myself to chaos. This is why Corinth was a chaotic church. This is why the church in America is chaos. Even if you give your body to be burned. Which reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Remember what Lord of the Rings is all about? It's about a struggle for power and the ring that will control all the others. And it turns into bloody conflict. And finally, by the end of the films and the end of the trilogy, Gollum is there struggling inside the mountain of doom, inside and above the fires of Mordor, and he literally has to bite the ring off the finger of Frodo and take it. And the last scene of Gollum is as he's falling backwards into the fires of Mordor, and what's the look on his face? Delight. He's so pleased that at once he's finally got the precious, and he clings to it, presses it into his heart, and then smack down into the doomy fires of Mordor and hell. That's idolatry. That's what delighting in something false will lead you to. Chaos, being undone by an idol. You should remember that the prophet in worship is becoming like the one worshipped. Who are you becoming like? A God of chaos or a God of creation?